Hi. I moved to Fort Wayne 3 years ago. And for those of you that are detail-oriented with a fine ear, you probably heard my slight accent. And you probably guessed that I'm not American. And to avoid any confusion and to start on the right foot, I will admit it. You're right. I was born and raised in Monte Carlo, a French-speaking country situated on the French Riviera, as you can see on the map behind me. And prior to moving to Fort Wayne, I lived 10 years in London, England, which is also situated on the map behind me. I'm here today to share part of my story, part of my journey, but also to share an idea with you that I hope will challenge you to think differently about your community, about our community. I'm pretty extroverted, and I more than enjoy socializing. And when I meet new people, and they hear my accent, they will skip the normal question. Any guess? What high school did you attend? But instead, because of my accent, they would ask me, where do I come from, or where I am from? And to your surprise, after I answer that, probably 9 out of 10 people will come up with that question. What are you doing here? Meaning, what in the world are you in Fort Wayne, Indiana? And I have to say, that makes me feel a sense of unrestness. I didn't understand why people would say that to me. Why would someone say to someone that is new in a community, what are you doing here? It's a little bit like your kids invite friends at home, and you come back from work, and you see those friends, and the first thing you say to them is, what are you doing here? Not the best way to welcome them, right? So to give you a little context here, I'd like to share how did I feel when I first moved to London. So the first months I was in London, I was staying with friends. But every time I was meeting new people, they were asking me that question, where are you living in town? And I was telling them, well, I don't know yet. Everybody was trying to sell me their neighborhood. They were telling me about the best small coffee shop. They were telling me about the best restaurants. They were telling me about access to bus, tube, train. They were overselling it. It was almost overwhelming. Now, some of you may say, well, Christophe, this is London. This is Fort Wayne. And you're right. I'm not trying to compare the assets. What I'm trying to say is when I arrived, I really felt welcome. And when I asked them, where are you from? The first thing that people will tell you is, I'm a Londoner. Even before they will come to you and say that you're from England or from America, from France, they will say, I'm a Londoner. This sense of pride, this sense of, I'm a community champion and I want you to move in my part of London. Now, let me give you an example that may be more relatable. How many of you have relatives that are not from Fort Wayne, that perhaps live in Chattanooga or Detroit or Grand Rapids or Denver? Anyone here? Yep. Do you remember the first time you visited that relative for the first time or that friend? Didn't it take time to show you around the best coffee shop, the best places, the place that they care about? Didn't you felt maybe even at times a little bit of jealousy? Well, I'm sure they didn't start sharing with you all the things they didn't like about their city. I'm sure they didn't start by asking you, what are you doing here, visiting me or visiting this city? I think they wanted to make you feel welcome. And today what I'd like to share with you is my perspective about Fort Wayne. I believe it's a great city. I believe we are in a great community. Now, I didn't say perfect. I said great. I believe that even the 3 years that I've been here, I've seen tremendous momentum. And I'm thankful for our city and community leaders that have exhibited great boldness and even taken some risk. And we've got great projects right now happening in Fort Wayne. I'm going to share a few of them. We have the riverfront, which I'd like to take the opportunity to promote the fact that our city planners have done an amazing job in making sure that this is going to be accessible to all and for all. We got the landing, which for Europeans is probably the most attractive thing about Fort Wayne. Having a pedestrian street where you can walk and not drive, go back to your car, drive again, go back to your car. And I hope that the landing will be one of many other pedestrian streets in our city. And then one that probably is my favorite, one that I think will get not just local and state attraction, but also probably national recognition, is Electric Works. What an opportunity we have as a community to recycle and restore an historical left-out building and make it a jewel in our community that would impact and serve many of us. Now, the truth about that is those kind of projects are going to be transformative for our city. This is going to increase the quality of place, that's going to create many jobs, and we're going to have more and more people coming to our community. And the way we speak about a community is definitely going to have an influence both on and in our community. There's other projects on the nonprofit that I just wanted to mention to give perspective. We got the Clyde Theater that is being restored and refurbished. We have the new rescue mission building, which aim to collaborate with 16 other organizations within 2 miles radius. We have Posterity Heights, a great project in the southeast side of town. And we have the new JA building that's going to focus on entrepreneurship. We have so much going on for ourselves. I don't know if you're aware of it, but I am. And so today, the idea that I came to share with you is the idea of perhaps becoming stronger or greater community champion within our own community. And I'm sure some of you are probably asking yourself, well, how are we going to do that? Well, I'm glad you asked. I believe that we can do that by adopting 3 attitudes. The first attitude is an attitude of gratitude. Did you hear the rhyme? Not bad for a French guy, right? Well, 6 months after I arrived in Fort Wayne, my company, which is awesome, by the way, but I'm not here to promote it, registered me to a local program. The program is called Leadership Fort Wayne. And I don't know how many of you have had the privilege to go through that program, but it's phenomenal. It consists of 9 days that you're going to meet with about 40, 50 other leaders. And the first 2 days is a retreat where we come along and we just share our dream for the city or ideas to solve some systemic issues or some gaps. At the end of those 2 days, we split into smaller groups of maybe 8, 9, 10 people. And then during the following 6, 7 months, we work on those projects. But not only that, for the following 7 months, we met 1 day every month. And during those days, we would learn about assets in our communities. And that could be in the arts, that could be nonprofit, that could be for-profit. And I remember coming home every day that I attended this, and this is amazing. All the assets that this city have are absolutely amazing compared to the size of other cities in which I lived. And I'm going to admit, it is during Leadership Fort Wayne that I fell in love with Fort Wayne. And I started really having this attitude of gratitude for all that we have and stopped thinking about things that we don't have. And my encouragement for you today is just to think about that and perhaps go and revisit your city. Just ask your friends and colleagues or coworkers, what are the places that they like? What are the part of town that they like? And just go and revisit it. It's amazing. Second attitude is an attitude of pride. Now, some of you may say, Christophe, aren't you aware that we're still quite far to achieving inclusivity or embracing diversity? Aren't you aware that perhaps we still have more crime than we wish for? Aren't you aware that we still have people facing great challenges on a daily basis? And I would say, yes, I agree. We have to be humble and honest about the challenges that we're facing. What I'm talking about, an attitude of pride, is we can still speak with appreciation for what we do have in spite of those challenges. Now, let me give you an example. I live in the 07, the home of Foster Park and Southside High School. I believe it's the best neighborhood in town. Now, I know some of you in the crowd here, maybe from 05 and 14, and you may think that your neighborhood is better, and you guys are wrong. We live in the best neighborhood. We have the best small coffee shop, the Friendly Fox. I don't know if you guys know it. If you don't know it, go and check it out. They got live music every Friday night and Saturday night. But we have also the 07 Pub, Brava's Burger, Wunderkammer. We've got a new church that is doing amazing work in the community, Pine Hill City Church. We've got an amazing community of food trucks that from late spring to early fall are meeting in different part of our neighborhood to gather people around food, which as a French, I love. But not just that. I tend to travel quite a bit for work. And believe it or not, when I'm in cities like Dallas, Denver, Atlanta, people still hear my accent. And they would still ask me, where are you from? And so 2 years ago, I decided to take a different stance. I decided to be bold. So when people asked me that question, I was telling them, I live in the best city in the Midwest. Well, guess what the reaction was? Laughter. So, okay. So then a few bold ones will come up and share a few names with me. So they would say Chicago, like, uh-uh. Or they would say Indianapolis, say, better, but not there. They would even say Cincinnati. I was like, much better, but still not there. And I would say Fort Wayne, Indiana. Of course. What city is better in the Midwest? Right? So they would start asking questions, what do you think is the best city in the Midwest? And I would tell them, where within 3 to 4 hours, we are close to 5 major cities in the US. We've got great access to education, amazing real estate marketplace. It's a great place to be either as a student, young family, retired people, great quality of life, great quality of place. We've got a great Christian heritage, an amazing nonprofit community, world-class enterprises. Now, they may not believe me. Maybe even some of you may not believe me. But here's the point I was trying to make. Those people probably will never forget that because they're a French dude telling them that Fort Wayne is the best city in the Midwest. Now, the truth is, when those people are close by a city, they're probably going to stop by to check it out. Or when they're going to read an article about Fort Wayne, they're probably going to remember that conversation. Now, when those people come and stop by in our community, should we tell them, what are you doing here? Or should we tell them, hey, welcome. It's a great city, you're right. Stop by and come live here and bring all your friends. Now, I believe that the next one, attitude of togetherness, is probably the important one. It's the one that glued the first two together. I'm sure we all agree that we're always stronger together than we're alone. And I also believe that in the last 2-3 years, we probably experienced great momentum because we had more individuals and more organizations working together. And I believe that we can keep improving that. And I believe that one way of doing that is improving our relational health. Improving our relational health could be just accepting and respecting other people's opinion, but also stepping out of a comfort zone and learning to hang out with new people. Now, I'm not making an assumption that all of you are going to want to hang out with me, or that you're going to like me, or that you want to talk to me or agree with everything that I'm saying. But I can intentionally decide to go and hang out with people that don't look like me, that don't think like me, that don't talk like me, or that don't have an accent like me. And I think by doing that intentionally, I think I would increase my chances to collaborate and be more successful with those people. And I truly believe that our togetherness could be our greatest strength, and that our unity could be our greatest asset. Now, let me ask you a few questions. How many of you here are native Fort Wayners? You lived here your entire life? I can't see, but that's okay. Are you ashamed of Fort Wayne? Or are you excited about, what this city has to offer and you're willing to share about that? How many of you are transplant? How many of you have moved from one community to another community in the city? Do you wish you would have never moved here? Or are you excited about this city and you want to share more about it? Well, I hope I inspired you to at least consider being a stronger community champion. But some of you are probably asking yourself, well, what next, Christophe? And once again, I'm happy you asked the question. I believe that there's a few steps that we can take to be greater community champion. I think the first one is be here. Make a decision to be here. To be completely here. Be here with your mind, your soul, your heart, your body. Make a decision. Commit to be here in Fort Wayne. Second, talk positively. Talk positively about your city, about your community, about one another. We all have negative thoughts that come to mind. My challenge to you is for every one negative thought that you get, come up with 2 positive thoughts and share those. Don't share the negative ones. Start changing the attitudes. Start changing your mindset and the mindset of people you're going to be surrounded by and hang out with. Third one is share your little gems. I told you about the Friendly Fox. I could tell you about another dozen places. When I first met people, I was asking them, what is your favorite place? I want to go and check it out. Do that. Discover. Go and discover those places. Be inquisitive. Be curious. Go and discover your neighbors. Hang out with them. Get to know them better. Get to know your community leader better. Either councilman or councilwoman or people that lead great organizations. Go and ask them to go for a coffee with them. Ask them to share the vision for the city. See if it aligns. See if you can play a role in this. And if you're bold, make a bold statement. Start and share that. Say that Fort Wayne is the greatest city in the Midwest. Or it is becoming the greatest city in the Midwest. Now imagine a community. Imagine our community with a large number of community champions, with an attitude of gratitude for all the assets that we have around us, with a genuine pride in where the city has come from and where it's going, that would value collaboration and that will be intentional in connecting people with one another to reach a common goal because they believe in the power of everyone. This, my friend, is the Fort Wayne that I want to live in. Thank you.